right, welcome back, everyone. I'd like to introduce our next presenter, Mr. Les Nettleton. He manages the team of specialists that both supports.
They can't hear you. The mic's not on.
I know.
You want it? Here. Hold on, we're going to share.
We're going to share mics today. I got to hold this one, and I got to hold this one.
We'll be friends.
We'll be close today. All right. Can you hear me now? Yes. Okay. I'm going to introduce our next presenter, Mr. Les Nettleton, who manages the team of specialists that both supports the technical infrastructure of Bourgeois, Bennett, and provides individualized technology services to the firm's diverse client base. Les has specialized experience in the areas of system analysis, technology management consulting, database management, and information systems training. He regularly addresses academic, community, and professional groups and organizations, both locally and nationally, on a variety of technology topics and provides technology training to the firm's staff. Les was awarded the 2020 Outstanding CPE Discussion Leader by the Louisiana State Society of CPAs after receiving the highest overall speaker rating for 2020. Please welcome Mr. Les Nettleton.
Thank you. All right, can you all hear me back there? Can you hear me all the way in the back over there? Good? Can anybody not hear me? All right, y'all got to wake up. That's a joke. All right. Speaking of it, passed through Thibodaux, Louisiana the other day. Man stopped at a stop sign, four-way stop. He looks left, he looks right, and he sees a little boy standing on the side of the road. He goes, "Son, if I take this road here to the left, where's that going to lead me?" The little boy goes, I don't know, sir. He goes, "Well, son, if I take this road here to the right, where's that going to lead me?" He goes, "Well, it pains me to tell you, I just don't know, sir." Now the man's getting mad. He goes, "Well, son, if I take this road straight ahead, where's that going to lead me?" He goes, "Well, sir, I just don't know." He goes, "Son, I'm not going to do it, but if I turned my car around and went right back where I came from, where will that lead me?" And he goes, "Sir, I'm sorry, I just don't know." And he goes, "Son, you don't know a damn thing, do you?" And he goes, "Yeah, but I ain't lost." And I think when it comes to cybersecurity, when it comes to surfing the internet safely, that we're kind of like that little boy. We're not lost, but we just don't know which direction we should be going in. So this is going to be a quick 50-minute session. I'm going to try to leave a little time at the end for questions. If not, though, please go ahead. My email address is lesn@bellsouth.net. I'm sorry, that's my home address. lesn@bb-cpa.com. I'm still working for them. Or the questions that are online, they'll go ahead and send those to me, but hopefully we'll have some time to do it. Okay, I woke up early this morning in Metairie, looked at my articles. Here's some headlines for you. You ready? 90% of all computer intrusions, which are virus, malware, and ransomware, are self-inflicted. You open an attachment or click on a link. The bad guys no longer have to go out there and open up your systems, getting in through your firewalls, trying to break in. All they gotta do is send out 100,000 emails, which takes no time and no effort, and basically somebody's gonna click on something they shouldn't. So we're gonna talk about that and try to give you ways to identify what you should click on and what you shouldn't. Email scams, they're becoming more clever. People are taking email scams and trying to work on psychology now. They're trying to get you to do stuff. We're gonna talk about that. Over 50% of all break-ins or intrusions with emails and links and attachments are simply trying to get your username and password. Now, why would they want my username and password? Get that later on. Once they have your username and password too, they'll try to use it in all kinds of other places. This is a new one, by the way, that's coming out right now. I've noticed this around our firm. Fake emails with no links or attachments. Now, how can that be bad, Les? Well, I'll tell you how it's bad. Somebody writes in, our firm is probably getting about 20 of these every week right now, sent to different people around the firm. Hi, and of course the language, the verbiage is very, very poorly done. Hi, I need my 2022 tax return done. Are you accepting any more returns? I'll be glad to go ahead and pay you for it. Please let me know what you need from me. There's no attachments and no links. Therefore, it should be a safe email, right? So what do? Hey, we want to go ahead and get the business. We send back the information over to the people. Okay, we send it back and say, hey, this is what we need. We need your W-2, we need your 1099, we need your blah, 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 we need your 2021 tax return. And the guy goes, okay, and they send it to you as an attachment. So what happens? You've got this kumbaya going. You got this virtual thing going with this person. It's, wow, we're friends. He's not going to hurt me. He wants to do business with me. Nope. What they're doing is they're simply trying to set you up to go ahead and open up something from an email perspective. So surfing the net is really, really difficult, especially in today's day and age, because we're so quick, we don't want to stop and think about stuff. Everything I say today can be used both in your business environment and your home environment. So if some of this stuff doesn't apply to you here in the business environment, it should work for you in your home environment. How many of y'all are either working remotely or hybrid, or have worked hybrid? Okay, cool. We're going to give you some tips on that later on about things that have happened because of COVID and because we've moved to a hybrid type environment. So, is it safe to go ahead and surf? Maybe so. Maybe not, though. Maybe we have to figure out ways to protect ourselves from the bad guys because they're getting very, very creative with what they're doing. They're trying to steal your personal data off the system. Okay, if they can get into your computer system and get you to click on a link in an email, then they can have total control over your computer. They can watch what you type in, get your passwords, get all the information that you have. What else can they get? They can get all your credit card information. Why? Because we're doing online shopping. We're entering our credit cards. We're going into Amazon. And hey, look, I'm there. I do that. I do online shopping. It's totally safe to me. Well, 99.9% safe. But I have no problem with putting my credit card online to a legitimate place. So I don't want to scare anybody and think that you shouldn't be doing this. You just need to take caution and be observant to what's going on. So let's talk about social engineering, okay? Be vigilant. When in doubt, verify. So first of all, you need to learn to recognize phishing emails. We're going to show you that in just a minute. You're going to verify by an alternative method when in doubt. Okay, if you have any doubt whatsoever on any email, get a second set of eyes to look at it. If something in there may trick somebody, it may not be visible to you, but it may be visible to somebody else. Always verify when exchange of funds is involved. The exchange of funds thing is kind of an interesting thing. This is happening over text messaging too now. You get a text message from somebody that you know, but they're being spoofed. It's not really them. And they say, hey, can you help me out here? Now, I get a few of these every month from my pastor at my church. Hey, this is Father Tim. Can you help me out? Oh, sure, Father, absolutely. Well, can you go to Walgreens and get $1,000 in iTunes gift cards and call me back? Interesting. Why would Father need $1,000 in iTunes gift cards? Shouldn't that open up? Okay, should you be recognizing that? But people fall for that constantly. In fact, our pastor had to change his phone number 4 times now because people keep sending out stuff and people keep going and getting the iTunes gift cards and scratching them off in the back and giving it to them. Only open attachments from trusted sources. If you get an attachment in the email and is unrequested, under no way, shape, and form should you even attempt to open it up without contacting the sender first. In fact, our firm has taken that on almost as a full policy now. If we get an attachment and it's unrequested, you are not allowed to open it up. You have to verify that the person sent you an attachment. And if we send somebody an attachment, we will call them and let them know we're sending you an attachment so they know that something's coming down the pike for the attachments. Always report potential phishing emails. Install scam filtering software. Notice I didn't say spam filtering software because what I'm looking for is scams. People that are trying to get something off of you. Make sure that you have these type of software on your systems. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes. Secure your social media sites so only trusted friends can see your posts. And be careful of what posting on social media sites. Okay, soapbox number 1. Let me step up on top of it. I'm a Facebook user. How many people here use Facebook? Excellent. Okay, I like Facebook. I find nothing wrong with Facebook. As long as you don't click on the videos inside of Facebook, I like Facebook. Have y'all seen the people that use Facebook? Have y'all seen the things that where it's a, hey, I want to get to know you better, answer these 20 questions? And people send them, and all kinds of people fall for that and put down to 20 questions. And what are the questions? Where did you live? What street did you grow up on? What was the color of your first car? Who was your first grade teacher? What are those? They're your security questions, right? These are security questions when you go and create passwords and create accounts. They ask you security questions in case you forget your password. So what are you doing? You're publishing to the entire world things out there that will get you hacked. If you get these things, just ignore them. Yeah, it's fun to go ahead and do that and get to know other people. But if you're just giving your personal information out, which really doesn't need to be out in the public domain. So let's take a quick peek at a few of the things you can do to recognize these type of scams. So first of all, this is from American Airlines. And there's two pieces on here that I want you to look at, the circled part. First of all, the HTTP, okay? There are two types, now I'm not going to get into hypertext protocol, but there are two things that you can see when you go to a website. You can see HTTP or you can see HTTPS. The S means secure. If you do not see an S in front of a website, when you go to any email address or any website address, any internet address, and you don't see an S behind it, under no circumstances should you put in any personal information at all. Okay, makes sense? Okay, because you don't want to go ahead and give them the capability of having your information with an unsecured site. And the unsecured site usually is going to be a fake site. It's not going to be a real site. You're going to go out there, and if it's like a bank, for example, I do banking with Cap One. If I get a Capital One email and I go out and check my Capital One account, I always make sure the first thing in front of it is HTTPS, not just a plain HTTP. But notice the second piece here. Notice the red circle around the dash behind the .com, okay? If you ever see an address, an internet address, that has a www.whatever.com, it should end at that point in time, at least to the standpoint of having a slash behind it. If it has stuff behind it, it's fine, but there needs to be a slash behind there. The dash here signifies that it's not going to Emeritus' website, it is going to this other thing called freetickets.club website. Okay? The concept here is making sure that you're able to recognize things that are happening. You don't want to go through life being on the internet, and I'm surfing the internet and seeing things like this and causing yourself all kinds of problems because you're simply not looking and taking the time. Guys, what we have to do in today's day and age, because of the number of bad guys trying to get our information, we've got to slow down. We can't, computers are wonderful. I love them. I've been working with them for over 40 years. But boy, they can cause you all kinds of problems if you don't slow down. But if you slow down, you're really going to come up okay. This is an example of an email. Now here's some things on an email that you can look at when you get, if you get every email. And by the way, we tell our employees to be suspicious of every single email they get. Every single one. I'm going to stop here for 1 second and back up. Not only do they have to be suspicious of every single email they get, they have to be suspicious of emails that come from companies that they're doing business with. I'm going to give you an example. One of our administrators at work was trading files. She was in our consulting department. She was trading files back and forth with an attorney, and she was using Dropbox. The attorney had a Dropbox account and kept sending files back and forth with Dropbox. I love Dropbox. I use Dropbox personally. No problem with Dropbox. However, one morning she comes in, there's an email that the attorney had sent her a Dropbox file, or a set of files on Dropbox. She went ahead and opened up the email and looked at it, and something didn't seem right. Now, like I said, she's been trading files daily back and forth with this person. All of a sudden she says, nah, let me call him and verify him. She calls, she verifies, and he says, thank goodness you didn't open up the email, open up the attachment on there because I was hacked last night. So even when it's people that you're doing business with constantly, you really have to think about that double verification side. You got to think about, I'm going to go out there and verify that this guy actually sent me a Dropbox file, even though I've been working with him day after day. Yeah, it's cumbersome, it's time consuming, but you really need to do that to keep yourself protected. So let's look at an email and take a look at some of the things. All right, up at the top, the from. All right, this is the easiest way to detect a fraudulent email. Notice the from says it's from the verbiage Intuit Payment Network. But what does the email address? That is behind it. That address is the reply to address. If you were to click reply, then that is where this would go. It would go to LOTUSQ260@realliving.com. I doubt that that is Intuit's payment place. Okay, that is obviously a fake. We could leave this thing alone, go from it there. Notice though, they have on here, first of all, fake bank account. Then they have a use of the money. We will withdraw out of your bank account $1,500. They're using threats. What they're trying to do is get you worked up. They're trying to get you to hurry. My Discover card has been hacked 3 times. Now, if I get an email tomorrow from discovercard.com and they're using a banner headline in that email and it says your card's been hacked, my inner workings wants to go, okay, let me take the mouse and let me go, click on the link. No, wait. I'm not going to go ahead, I'm not going to click on the link to go to my Discover card. What should I do at that point in time? Call them. On the back of my Discover card is a wonderful phone number. I can also bypass the link which is supposed to bring me to their website and go ahead and just simply go to discovercard.com myself and see if my account is active, okay? And see if my account has been closed out or if there's some sort of issue with it. So they use these threats to try to get you to get out of your comfort zone. It's psychological to you. The final thing, and this is probably the most important thing, especially if you're looking at links. Somebody sends you an email and there's a link in the email. Now, I want to be careful here. What I want you to do is take your mouse and hover over the link. Do not click on the link. Let me repeat that because I got in trouble last year. Don't click on the link. Simply hover your mouse over the link. What it's going to do, it's going to say, if you were to click on this link, this is where it's going to go. And if you look here, this one's going to go to KOHEMKA at blah, blah, blah. Well, obviously, if you clicked on that link, that is not the Intuit Payment Center, okay? And if you see in the link behind the, like the .net or .com, and there's another .something there, the most common dots that you'll see behind there are .ru, .nk, and .ch. Russia, China, and North Korea. Those are the ones that are trying to infiltrate our systems the most right now. Those are the governmental entities which are trying to hit into our systems. And if you were to click on the link, that's where it's going to go. So that's an easy way to say, okay, this is why I shouldn't click on the link. Now, this is a 2-hour talk just on emails itself, so I'm going to skip over this quickly. Just from my standpoint, I like to say just be careful. Be suspicious of every single email that you get and do some verification on every single email you get. Well, Les, I get 100 emails a day. What am I supposed to do? Spend my day looking at emails? Yes, that's what you do. What do you do if you get mail at home? Something in your mailbox, what are you doing? Okay, do you go and you just say, oh God, I got too much mail to look at today, I'm just going to put it on the side. No, what do? You go grab it, you go put it out. By the way, there's a new scam going on, a new virus going on. For those of you who are email hoarders and have multiple email messages in your inbox, and I'm not talking about 10, I'm not talking about 100, I'm talking about thousands, and I don't want hands up, okay? If you have that type of email in your inbox, let me tell you about the scam that's going on right now. There's a thing happening where you wind up getting a virus on your computer. Either somebody hacks into you, you open up a email, click on an attachment, click on a link. So what happens? They go ahead and they have this ability to go read every single email in your inbox, and they reply back to every single email in your inbox, putting your name on it and saying, hey, I recommend that you go out to this website with a bad link on it. So, now if I have 10 emails in my inbox and I get hit with this virus, it's no big deal. What happens if I have 50,000 emails in my inbox? And look, I know people who do that have 50,000 in there. Well, you're going to have 50,000 emails sent from your inbox to the people, and you better start making phone calls quickly, because they're going to be clicking on these links because it came from you. What does that mean? That means you should keep your inbox clean. You should be going ahead and deleting stuff whenever possible. Psychology. Okay, these are 2 psychological emails that are coming in right now. Netflix, your account is on hold. Oh no, I won't be able to watch Bridgerton or any of the other things that are out there. Okay, I have a Netflix account, it must be on hold. I need to update the account now. That's a link, update account now. Should I be clicking on that link? No, go out to my Netflix account. Go out to netflix.com and simply open it up and make sure that my account is not hacked. You don't have to use the thing that sent you. The same thing with your Apple ID has been locked. Now, these aren't going to probably put a virus on your computer. What they're going to do is they're going to bring you to a screen and they're going to ask you to put your username and your password in. And now somebody has your Netflix username and your Apple username and password. And what's dangerous about that is most people, first of all, what is your username in most cases? It's your email address, right? Okay, because you can't change that. Your email address is your username. What you can change is your password. Over 75% of people use the exact same username password combination on any one of their entities that they have to set up username and password combinations for. So what happens when you click this Netflix thing and they wind up with your username and password? You know what they're going to do? They're not worried about trying to get into Netflix. They're going to go to Capital One, American Express, Amazon.com, and all those places and try to log on as you. And guess what? They're going to be successful because you have gone ahead and given them the information that they need to get into your account. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that each account has an individualized username and password. The username you can't change, okay? It's usually your email address. The password you can. So in a few minutes we're going to talk about how to make an individual secure password that's very, very easy to remember, but it's different for every entity. PayPal. Yes, ma'am.
I'm actually going to go back 2 slides to where you were talking about your inbox having thousands of emails.
Yes.
If you keep those emails in individual files, they'll get to all of those.
Okay, the question was, if I go ahead and if I move my files from my inbox into individual mailboxes, can they get to those? Yes, they can. But I haven't heard this virus hitting that and doing that. I have heard from the inbox, but not from the separate boxes. But yes, but that is exactly how I do my email. I never keep things in my inbox. I simply create separate mailboxes, and I have it to be read, to be worked on, and to be deleted, and simply I move stuff directly out of my inbox to them. All right, so PayPal, same thing. You get a message from PayPal that your PayPal account has been hacked or something's happened with PayPal. Immediately, it's going to get you going. You're going to get worked up. I need to go ahead and move on and say, I'm going to go to paypal.com or I'm going to go to the app on my phone. I'm not going to click on here and enter my information. How many of y'all have been surfing on your computer and had a screen like this pop up? Anybody ever have one? A few people have. Okay. This is becoming more commonplace too. It doesn't mean you went to a bad website. What it means is that you may have gone to a good website that got hacked. Okay? And so you go to this website and all of a sudden, bam, this pops up on your computer screen. And it starts to flash and there's a loud sound that's going on. Beep, 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 beep. This is a fake. These aren't real. You have to go out and, what do? We'll call 844-37. What they want to do when you call the number, they're going to go ahead and say, we need to take over your computer and help you out, get the viruses off your computer. No! Don't ever let anybody that you don't know get on your computer. I can't believe the number of people who actually do that. But no, they can't be trusted. Don't do it. These are fakes. You want to stop this right here? You want to see how to get past this? Don't click on anything in this screen. What you do, take your on-off button and hold it down for 10 seconds. Your computer will crash. And we have had 100% success with your computer not getting infected if you don't click on anything in this screen. Okay? Turn it off. Yes, you will lose whatever you're working on, but it gets back to that save every 5-10 minutes. Don't go a long period of time without saving because something like this might actually happen. Here's another one. Security warning. Then you have the phone number to go ahead and call. These have been around for a while, but they are starting to become more prolific. What I'm finding these on, by the way, if you go out to Google and you Google manuals.com, you Google manuals, I need a manual for my refrigerator. The manual place, it'll pull up the first listing will be basically, it'll say ad. Those are advertisements. People pay for that, okay? That's how come they're at the top right now, all right? And those ads, sometimes they will have these type of viruses on there. All right, Microsoft. Anybody gotten a phone call from Microsoft? No. Oh, wow, you're my first audience not to have phone. Okay, get ready. They're coming. Microsoft's going to give you a call. And they're going to say, hey, we see that you're infected with viruses. Microsoft doesn't do that. They don't care. That's not their forte. They're going to call about affected computers to give away money to people who forward email messages. They don't do that. Hey, forward this email to 100 people and you'll get $1 for every time you forward this email. Kind of like that Facebook thing where if you sign up for Southwest Airlines, they're going to give you, put you in a drawing for a free flight. Doesn't happen. Now, Microsoft might call to renew your TechNet membership, or if you're a journalist. Other than that, if you get a phone call from Microsoft, hang up. Don't trust them. They're going to have you go into your computer and they're going to show you some things and say, those are viruses. And look how many viruses you're sending out. And those aren't viruses. They're simply warnings on your computer of things that happen normally. Another one where they try to get in, they say, we got an error. Please put in your username and password. Okay? Now, at our firm, we just moved this past year into Office 365. And we set our passwords to never expire in Office 365. We didn't want to do the 90-day password expire thing. Reason being is that we get so many fake emails from Microsoft that your password is expired. And I didn't want our end users clicking on that and not knowing, is it real or is it Memorex? So basically, we want to make sure that people are not giving that information out. Two-factor authentication. Two-factor authentication to me has got to be the way to go. I had said a few years back, I made a prediction that username and passwords were going to go away. We'd no longer have usernames and passwords. It'd have to be something else. It's almost like the farce of the IRS. I'm sorry, hopefully no IRS agents here. But the farce of what they go through when you do your tax return, and then once you're hacked, or once somebody files a false tax return, they give you a PIN number to go with. They do it on the back end. No, do it on the front end. Give me a PIN number now. Why wait? Well, two-factor authentication is going to come out and basically help with usernames and passwords. And what it does is it provides another layer of protection for you. Now, two-factor authentication works on a three-thing premise. You have to have two of these. Something you know, like a password or a PIN, something you have, like a phone, a fob or card, and something you are, like biometrics, like your fingerprint. So when you go to the gas station, you put your credit card in there, what does it ask you? For your zip code. That's two-factor authentication. It's making sure that you are the owner of the credit card. If somebody's stolen your credit card, they may not know your zip code. So that's making sure. That's two-factor authentication. It's something you have, which is your credit card, and it's something you know, which is the zip code. Now, we're using a program called Duo, D-U-O, at our office. We're using it for anything that is high-level sensitivity, that once you put in your username password, you're going to get a code sent to your phone. And you have to put the code into your phone every time. But that's inconvenient. Yes, security, believe it or not, is inconvenient. Everything that you do in security to keep yourself secured is inconvenient. It's basically at that point now, though, where you have to learn to deal with it. And by the way, Amazon Discover Card, when you go to log on, you know how they send you the code? That's two-factor authentication. They send you a code, text message to your phone, so you have that. So the hybrid thing, okay, so what we had happen, COVID comes around and we start to work both from inside office and outside the office. So for those of you working at home or working part-time at home or that have home computers, basically some of these premises might hit you. So number one is to use strong passwords. We're going to talk about how to make those in a second. Keep your software up to date. So many people don't update their software. It really is a shame. The software up-to-date thing needs to be that you're going to take, like your phone, for example. I'll give you a great example. My wife has an Apple phone, not an iPhone. I have an Android phone. She refuses to update her phone when she gets the message from Apple. There's an update available. She doesn't want to do it because at one point in time, her phone got blown out. Didn't really have anything to do with the update, but she thinks now, well, I'll put 1 and 1 together and come up with 9, so this must be true. No, you need to be updating. The reason they're updating these programs is because either they found a security flaw that they're fixing, or it's a program error that they're fixing, or that they're adding another piece onto it. So make sure that you keep all your software up to date. Make sure your laptop is backed up daily. If you got a laptop and you're bringing it home and you're not backing it up daily, something's wrong there. Well, we have a program at our office that we will give every employee a flash drive and say, if you're working at home and you work on the computer, at the end of the day, back up everything that you have to the flash drive. Because believe it or not, these things crash. These computers crash a lot. And if you wind up crashing, all the work that you've done the day before gets lost. I use a program called Carbonite at home. Carbonite, basically, I set it, I think I pay like $99 a year for it, and I set it, and every night at 11 o'clock at night, it goes ahead and backs up my hard drive out to the net. Yes, ma'am?
If you're working from home and you connect to your office computer via VPN, does that go ahead and back up on the backup system that you already have set at the office?
Well, you could. The question is, if you're working from home and you're able to connect to your office through the VPN, can you back up through that, or are you able to back up, or the office? Yeah, it can be done. We don't do that. We basically put that on every single person. The reason we don't do it is we don't allow external connectivity into our office. We learned that a long time ago. We didn't want employees just blatantly coming into the office and from externally and getting onto our systems, because we couldn't verify that it was them. So.
But would it back it up if you are?
Yeah, it could if you have the right backup system. That's why I like Carbonite, which is basically it's self-supportive. It's a software program I run on my laptop at home, and it basically 11 o'clock at night goes out and backs up to the internet. And the nice thing about that is that I have the backup at the internet. If my computer crashes, I can restore from that also. And I don't own stock in Carbonite, by the way. Lock your computer, or reboot your computer daily. A lot of people like to leave their computers on. Don't do that. Reboot your computer each day. It updates your computer. When you have updates, they need to be rebooted to get the updates out there. Lock your computer when you take a break if you're at home. We had to caution our people, saying, look, you're going to be able to work from home now until we get back from COVID. But when you have other people around, you're preparing a tax return, and you got your paper copy here and the return up on your screen, make sure when you walk away from the desk, you turn your paper copy over and lock your computer. Windows key L locks the computer, by the way. Doesn't take any time whatsoever. Windows key L locks the computer. And we insist that our people lock the computer. I do that at home anyway. If I'm getting up, or if I'm at work and I'm getting up and I'm going to lunch, I'll lock my computer. I don't want my computer on just in case. Yes, ma'am? Oh, I'm sorry, repeat the initials. It's the Windows key and the letter L, as in Lima. I don't know. That's a great question. What about for a Mac? I'm not a Mac person, unfortunately. I don't know, but there has to be some sort of Windows, some sort of lock screen in there. I'd Google lock screen for a Mac. Don't download, be extra vigilant at phishing emails. When you leave your office and you go home, for some reason, even though you're working from home, people tend to become a little bit more lax. That's when you need to turn up the radar. The radar needs to be higher at home than it is in your office. Don't access inappropriate sites, obviously. Don't download files from unknown sources, obviously. Don't leave sensitive work documents in the common areas of your house. If you're doing tax returns, you have something that's sensitive, make sure that it's put off to the side, that somebody can't get to it. If you have, I'm at home, my wife has some friends come over, I'm working on the computer, they can see what I have on the screen. That's not a good thing when you're working with sensitive information. Be careful what others can see in your house when using video chat. I do a whole session on video chats and what people do incorrectly when they do Zooms or Teams or something like that. Just be careful what your background looks like. I can't tell you the number of backgrounds I've seen that basically you have either a bright window behind them where you can't see the person's face, or you see the camera's down here, the computer's here, and it's shooting up, and so you get a great picture up their nose, or you get a picture of their ceiling. Okay, make sure you recognize what it looks like when you're on video chats. Shred any sensitive information you have at home. Don't just throw it in your trash can. And reboot your cable modem daily. I've changed that now. I really say you should reboot your cable modem weekly. Okay. Now I know people who just basically don't reboot it at all. Go to your cable modem, unplug it. Leave it unplugged for 15 seconds and plug it back in. It resets it, and you'd be amazed you'll pick up some extra speed on the cable modem, because once it's been up for a while, they tend to slow down. So a good trick for at home, go ahead and once a week tell everybody internet's going down for about 10 minutes, and your kids will scream and yell and jump up and down, but go ahead and unplug it, leave it unplugged, and plug it back in. Now, for employers, if you're an employer, working from home, make sure you're securing your laptops for the employees to work from home. Do work from home training. We did extensive training for our staff of how to work from home, because we knew there were going to be a bunch of differences there. Encourage strong passwords, and we'll talk about that in a sec. Discourage the use of personal emails. I hate using my personal email account for business. The reason being is it's already in a sensitive environment inside of our firm. If ABC Corporation sends me an email and then I forward it off to one of my partners, that email now sits in our firm, in my inbox, in my sent box, and in the partner's inbox. We've got 3 copies of it. Now, let's do that on my personal email address. ABC Company, we have some sort of problem with our internet, or they can't send to our work address. They'll send it to my personal address. Now where is it? It's on my personal stuff. You know, you're going to trust your people to go ahead and take that off of their personal stuff. No, it's just a better thing not to use your personal emails. The encrypted VPN, that's a virtual private network. We can talk about that at some other point in time. It's just basically a connectivity thing to get to your network. Disable USB drives. I have clients that do this. They take the USB drives on their computers and they disable, so you can't copy any files off of there. The reason I don't like doing that is because, like I said before, we basically tell our employees to back up to a flash drive every single time in the evening after they're finished working. So if I disabled all the USB drives, they wouldn't be able to back up at that point in time.
How would you disable a USB?
There's a setting inside the computer. If an employee is using a personally owned computer, check the security controls before gaining access to company data. All right, let me rephrase that. Do not let your employees use personal computers to access your company data. You don't know what else they're doing on that. If you got kids, the kids are all over the place, and you don't know what kind of viruses and stuff are on your personal computer. By the way, interesting thing about viruses don't always show themselves up and go, hey, look, you're infected. A lot of them do. But some of them sit there and just kind of get on your system and wait. And they have trigger dates. There used to be one called the 4th of July virus. Guess what day it would make itself available? 4th of July. So if I got that virus right now, nothing would happen until July 4th. I'm safe. Nothing's happening on my computer. So you got to make sure that we don't let people use their personal computers. Add additional manual controls, get extra approval for wires, temporarily disable, restrict access to furloughed employees. If you're furloughing an employee, you have an intention to bring them back, it is inconvenient to go ahead and kick them off and then have to reset them up. But security is inconvenient. That's what you got to do. It's the cost of doing business in today's day and age. And then make sure you got procedures to collect these files, collect the equipment back from people. I can't tell you, I had a couple of clients of mine. It was nightmarish. Get a phone call. Les, we have about 4 or 5 employees that are at home, and we're going to let them go, but we don't know how to go ahead and get their computer equipment back from them. I don't know. I mean, tell them to come on in, and you're giving them $1,000 if they come in, and then bring their computer with them. But make sure you have at least some sort of procedure with that's going to go. So let's talk real quickly passwords. Strong passwords is a minimum of 8 characters. Okay, I use 16 characters. Les, how do you remember 16 characters? I'm going to tell you in a sec. And it must contain at least one of each of the following: an uppercase letter, a lowercase letter, a number, and some high-ended character here. Okay? And should you be changing your passwords every 90 days? Now this is interesting. I have done this for 37 years, okay? And for 35 of those years, I said you must change your passwords every 90 days. And now I'm not so sure, because as soon as we put in Microsoft Office 365, we got this little warning or recommended action. Set users' passwords to never expire. Research shows that password change requirements may lead people to choose predictable passwords, that are more easily compromised. And I thought about that. I said, they're right. That's exactly correct. People are choosing changing one character out the password or something like that. So maybe we should making passwords not expire. But because passwords do expire, what are you going to do? You're going to use a different password for each and every entity that you have a username and password for. Okay? Now, how do you remember those? Well, you really don't have to remember it. I'll show you that in a second. But the easiest way to make this is this. Pick a word, and I'm going to pick a word called microphone. So I have microphone. I'm going to capitalize the M. Now I got my uppercase and my lowercase. Now I'm going to put a number behind it, 1, 2, 3, and an exclamation point. But how do I designate that for my Apple account? What I'm going to do is I'm going to put AP microphone 1, 2, 3 exclamation point. My Capital One account is CA. This is not really, don't go log into my accounts. My Capital One account is CA microphone 1, 2, 3 exclamation point. My Amazon is AM. Now you don't have to put the two initials in the front. My wife puts one initial in front and one initial in the back. I know people who put the two initials in the back. What that does is you only need to remember one password. It's microphone 1, 2, 3 exclamation point. And whatever entity you're using it for, you simply go ahead and put that the letters in front of it. Now, it doesn't alleviate you every 90 days from having to go out there and change those passwords, even if you're not forced to change the passwords. But as long as the passwords are individually unique, I don't care if they're very, very similar to each other. Because again, what somebody is doing, they're hacking and getting your username and your password, and then they're trying that combination on hundreds of different places. So they're not trying it with the AP in front of it or the CA in front of it or whatever. It's just a password. Now, how are we doing? Okay, the lowest hanging fruit with the iCloud. Remember a few years ago, iCloud got bashed for being totally unsecured because some not ready for prime time pictures of celebrities were being sent out. They had them, people broke into the iCloud. Come to find out, it wasn't iCloud that got hacked into. They had hacked into Yahoo or some other site, got the username password combination, then went out to iCloud, logged on, and wound up with getting into their systems. So how do you maintain your passwords? 3 different ways. Number 1, use a password manager. I used to use Dashlane. I really like that. These are very inexpensive. All these are very, very good. If you get one of these online password keepers, make sure you don't lose the master password, because then you're well, I can't say it. All right. The second way to do it, and this is the way I do it now, is I have a Word document that I keep in my Dropbox account. And the Word document is password protected. And all of my usernames and passwords are inside of that Word document. The nice thing is that I can get to that from anywhere in the world because I have access to my Dropbox account on my phone. Therefore, I can look up any password that I have. And I have 5 pages of passwords out there. Now, my wife doesn't like that very much. She's much more cautious. She goes, well, what if somebody hacks into it? I said, okay, so if somebody knows my Dropbox username and password and gets into my Dropbox and then is able to open up the Word file and is able to use the password that I use for that, then they're in there. Yes, how do I prevent that? So you can't prevent it. You know what you could do, though? And she does this now. She writes the usernames and the passwords down on the Word document, but she writes the passwords backwards. Interesting. Never thought about that, because nobody's really going to look at it and say, gee, there's a jumbled bunch of mess. No, that's what passwords usually are. So you're really not worried about that. We have a piece of paper sitting right next to our computer at home, right there with our usernames and passwords on them out in the open, because they're written backwards. If somebody comes in, she goes, what if somebody breaks into the house? Well, if they break into the house, they're going for the big screen TV or the stereo system. They're not really going for a piece of paper sitting next to the computer that has a bunch of jumbled stuff written on it. My favorite, though, has to be one of our partners at work that has Outlook, and he's created a fake Outlook contact. And it's John Smith or whatever. And in the notes section of the Outlook contact is where he keeps his usernames and passwords, and he writes his passwords backwards also inside of there, just in case somebody can get to it. But these are all really cool ways to go ahead and keep your passwords. Finally, we're going to do real quickly, Internet of Things. The Internet of Things is things that connect to the internet that are around your house. This kind of takes you back to your house now. So we'll do a little house thing, okay? So, what are the things around your house that connect to your internet? Well, you know, you have on your phone, you can start your car now. You can set your thermostats, appliances. My sprinkler system at home, I can set that. My Keurig I just bought is Wi-Fi capable, and I can go ahead and brew a cup of coffee right now for when I get home. It's ready to go. The one that gets me on here, though, is the Amazon Echo. Anybody use those things that you talk into? Okay, my son tried to give me one for Christmas. I said, here you go, I'm giving it right back to you. Why, Dad? Well, because I don't want people listening to what my conversation is. Well, they're not really listening, Dad. Oh, really? Okay. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist in any way, shape, and form. Did y'all read the article a few months back where Amazon actually had live people listening to make sure the heuristics that they were using when you said, Echo, go ahead and turn on my TV, that it was doing the correct thing? They had people actually listening. No, I don't need that type of convenience, okay? That to me is inconvenient, and security is? Inconvenient, absolutely. So, when you look at this, these are things all attaching to your Wi-Fi. Now, it's interesting because guess who else is attached to your Wi-Fi? Your neighbors. They're on your Wi-Fi. So do you secure your Wi-Fi? Or do you go out to Office Depot, buy yourself a Wi-Fi box, bring it home, hook it up, and all of a sudden immediately you're on? Fantastic. No. No. You can't do it that way. Because if you buy a Netgear box, Netgear is one of the big sellers of that, and you buy a Netgear box to get the administration module to set up all the stuff inside of it, the username is admin and the password is password. So now all I have to do is drive down the street with my phone and look for a network called Netgear or your Wi-Fi called Netgear. And if I see a Wi-Fi called Netgear, I can stop in front of the house, I can log into their system because I have the username and password because they're all the same. So what you need to do is go, now this is for the administration module, what you need to do is you need to go on there, first of all, there's a thing called SSID broadcasting. That's the name. So when you see Netgear, you see AT&T Wi-Fi, whatever, when you look at your list of Wi-Fis, that is the SSID of your Wi-Fi unit. You can disable the broadcasting inside the admin module. I recommend disable the broadcasting because you will be able to see it. But if you don't want to do that, rename your Wi-Fi, okay? And my friend Diane in the back, she heard one of my speeches and went ahead and renamed her Wi-Fi unit the same thing. My Wi-Fi unit now is named FBI Surveillance Van number 4. I guarantee you, no one's going to try to hack into that and change the access password. And just remember, as you're surfing the internet and closing, as you're surfing the internet, it's a dangerous place out there. I know I really went through a lot of things really quickly. I got like a minute for questions. Is there anybody has a question, anything online? If not, LESN as in Nancy at BB Bravo Bravo CPA Charlie Papa Alpha.com. We'll go ahead and we can, I'll be glad, whoa, here we turn it out. Yes, ma'am, one quick question.
Question on the .NET. You listed several .NET, .RU,
Yes.
what were those again, please?
What were those?
Yes.
Oh, when you get a Russian website, a Russian domain, the domain is a thing that after it's LESN at bb-cp.com. The bb-cp.com is our domain. If you had a .ru on it, that domain came from Russia. It's a Russian-born one. Or if it's an NK, it came from North Korea. So you can tell immediately it doesn't necessarily mean it's bad, but it's coming from there if you think it's from someplace else. I'm out of time. Diane and guys, thank you so much for having me. I hope you have a great rest of your conference. If you have any questions, please email them to me. And thank you very much. Have a great day.